Okay, so there's the Valiant front, and now we're going to work our way around the underside. I don't have brackets hooked up there. I didn't want it to get all rusty and gross, and if I hit something, bend up the fender. So I don't know if I'm going to fill that in or just put the brackets back later. I haven't decided yet. Turn signal, pretty straightforward. Notice the bolts along here. So, along the underside. Oh, there's a bolt missing there. And ta-dow. Here's the L brackets. The underside. So, looks like Charlie did a little adjusting there too, the lower ones this time. So, yes. Alright. There's the left side transmission cooling line, and it runs up as we saw earlier. Underside bolt to the motor mount. There's the pitman arm. And it runs to the tie rods, it runs to the spindle, which all that business will be addressed when we take the brakes apart. Big bolt there for the K-frame. Something is leaking oil. I'm guessing it's just a slant 6 being a slant 6. There's the underside of the oil filter thing and the oil pressure sensor, as we saw earlier. Idler arm. Some kind of adjustment bolts there. Oh yeah, that's the torsion bar adjustment bolt. Torsion bars, that was a fun day. As you can see, they're quite greasy. There's all of the transmission bolts. Those have been replaced with shorter ones, as per Charlie, except for that one. That one is the original. So that was on the driver's side corner, front corner, is the original bolt. The rest are all hardware store new aircraft grade bolts, I believe. That may not be true. Oh, that might be where I'm leaking training fluid from, although it's probably up here in this whole mess. That was a nightmare. So hopefully when I start yanking parts, we are going to be okay there. We'll get a new doodad for that. Gasket, yes. This is where the speedometer cable goes. I know that because I've replaced it twice now, and it still doesn't work right. So I blame myself. Here's the divider that we saw earlier above for the brake lines, and out of this side here we see it goes up to another connector up there and loops across, and I'm assuming it's the same line that goes around here and down and up to there, and then flex cables over to the passenger side caliper. So that is the back one. Front one does a loop around there and goes to the driver's side. So that is the front divider. Alright, that's pretty straightforward. Moving back here. Oh, that's not good. What is that? I think that is my transmission linkage, if I'm not mistaken. So that's not good. That would have caused problems later. And looks like it's leaking there too. Leaking everywhere. There's the speedometer cable. Did I say something else was the speedometer cable? No, that is definitely the speedometer cable. And it runs along here, and it's got a little rusty bracket there. And runs back up to there, yeah. That's got to be my cable linkage. Falling apart as I look at it. That's disappointing. Explain why I miss a gear every now and then. This looks like, yeah, I think I said that was the transmission or the speedometer cable, but that is clearly not. That goes along here and up to, I'm trying to see where that goes up. Goes up along the driver's side and in the same plastic hole or rubber hole that the linkage cable comes out of. So it comes down through there and into that unit there. There's the transmission coolant line, goes up there and runs along, and back here is the other coolant line. I think you can see that. I hope so. And it runs up and along here. So, and here's where my transmission mount went bad. Those are the two bolts on the bottom. And hopefully you can see something up in there. I can't. Pull back. Do you see anything? Hopefully that's helpful. Transmission support has two bolts on either side. This thing that goes to the torsion bar, which as you can see has snap rings in there and there. And that is going to be a problem. I do not like the look of that at all. So obviously you can see lots of rust, and attempts to repair it have been made, and it's continued rusting around there. There's some two bolts there that go into the interior. I'll have to check and see what that is. And I think that's about that as far as the underside. Pretty straightforward. It's what I love about these old cars. Oh, before I forget. Emergency brake, e-brake. E-brake comes out of here in this thing that looks like a artificial reef. That is my inner fender well. It's the Titanic. And it goes there and through that body hole there on the, so there's the fender, and there's this thing on the outside of where the transmission mount goes. It goes through there, through this cable here, and that goes to that bolt with the little divider cable. It runs along that bracket there just above the muffler, and back to that loop there. Get to that, and back to that wheel. And over here runs through that little connector there, straight along there through the second from outside edge to here. Brake line comes from the master cylinder, comes down Goes through a hole in the body right next to this torsion bar cup. Comes out the other side and to that joint there. Flips along and does some kind of squirrely maneuver here. There's this bracket here. There's the support beam that the torsion bar is connected in. Bracket there. Bracket there. And then it doubles back and runs along to the back where I will be visiting next. Ooh, that's some fun ride there. Alright, really quick, just for giggles, we're going to have to replace the drive shaft anyway. There's the drive shaft connection and the crazy bolts that go back that way.